It's official.
A common defense I've heard with regards to my last video on Shao Kahn and his portrayal in the new Mortal Kombat is that because the writers might be building up to something later on down the line, that I shouldn't be criticizing and placing my judgment on how he's portrayed in the game. On top of the other arguments I've gotten, such as that it's a new timeline, therefore it's okay that my favorite character is a joke now, even though there are multiple characters who, while maybe different in small ways, are pretty much identical in the ways that matter. The thing is, I understand some of these arguments in certain contexts, but my point has nothing to do with the in-universe reasons for why certain characters are this way, but rather the decisions the writers made that caused them to wind up this way. Even though other fans and YouTubers I admire have said they actually like this game and its story, I just can't, in good conscience, say that I'm not deeply disappointed by it. It doesn't matter whether or not they're building up to something with Shao Kahn. If the next game comes out and he's identical to the character he used to be, while that would be amazing, it would also be inconsistent with the way he's written now. It also doesn't help that it's all predicated on his portrayal in Mortal Kombat 11 and the many assumptions made with that game. Essentially, the idea is that Liu Kang has taken the villains from the previous games and altered their destinies to ensure they don't become the way they were in that game. There's never any mention of prior timelines, which you think would be significant seeing as many of MK's greatest enemies existed prior to MK11, and thus wouldn't be accounted for in this one, such as Onaga, but the recent games have spent so much time sucking off Shang Tsung and Quan Chi that they forgot who the true villains of their respective eras were, as well as the reason the two of them became such a threat in the first place. It was an alliance born out of necessity, because alone they were no match for the foes that game before, Shao Kahn, and those that would come after, Onaga. Shinnok was pretty much the only villain one of them was able to outdo single-handedly, which is hilarious given how hard Midway tried to retcon the shit out of Shao Kahn's greatest achievements so they could transfer them to Shinnok himself. Dude has never been on Kahn's level, and it's probably why he only ever lasts for one game, regardless of the timeline. But that's a topic for another video. Back to the point, no matter what I say or when I say it, I'm always met with the argument that I shouldn't be saying what I'm saying for one reason or another. First, it's that I shouldn't make assumptions about the story based on the trailers provided to me, or the official character bios and reveals, seeing as the game hasn't released yet, thus my opinion could wind up being wrong. I think that's bullshit, but fair enough. Then, it's that I can't express disappointment or unhappiness based on the provided trailers, despite the fact that trailers exist to provide us with an impression of the material and form a judgment based on that. If I'm not allowed to form an opinion from the trailer showing me what I can expect from the game, why can the other guys screaming and raving about how hard they're creaming their pants because Sindel said,
"Who's your queen?"
But if that wasn't enough, the subject of a recent argument I had in the comments, I know I'm sad, is that I shouldn't be so critical and upset over Shao's portrayal in the game proper because they were building up to him becoming the Shao Kahn we all know. Of course, by that, they probably meant MK11 Shao Kahn, who is as far off from Shao Kahn proper as can be, at least until General Shao became a thing. So if I can't critique the trailer, the previews, the bios, or the game itself, then what the hell am I allowed to critique and when can I critique it? I think we all know the problem with this argument and the obvious hypocrisy involved with it. It's not that I can't say what I've said, it's that they're not happy about what I said and can't properly refute my argument, so they make shit up to devalue my points. It's just more desperate nonsense meant to silence any criticism because fragile egos can't handle opinions that differ from their own. Here's the facts. It doesn't matter if they're building up to something better. If the depiction in question is an abysmal trash dumpster, then I'm absolutely going to call it out for what it is. In the case of General Shao, God, I hate that name, that's exactly what it is. This character isn't even a shadow of the good version of Shao Kahn. It's a flanderized version of an already assassinated portrayal that fundamentally didn't understand the character. Midway Shao Kahn, no matter how hard people try to deny it, was a tactical, cunning, and ruthless tyrant that always took advantage of the opportunities put before him. And despite the fact that practically everyone on the roster had a bone to pick, managed to not only stay alive, but maintain his hold on the throne of Outworld. He was more than just a stupid brute. He was a menacing powerhouse who could casually throw people around and had the supposed greatest threat of the MK multiverse on his knees begging for his life due to the simple fact that he was superior to him in every conceivable way. This is what made it necessary for Shang Tsung to form the Deadly Alliance and remove Shao Kahn from the board. And even then, the strategy failed as well, and he returned to the throne in due course with his armies firmly back under his control, even despite the fact that Onaga himself was still alive and wandering about. In Mortal Kombat 11, these traits only exist in concept, but not in execution. I think the reason I originally thought it would have made more sense for him to take advantage of Kotal's hospitality when he first appears in the game's story was due to how poorly his attempt at staking his claim ended up going, but the fact is, that's never how that encounter should have gone. Even accounting for Liu Kang and Raiden's presence, Shao Kahn is supposed to be an insane powerhouse of a fighter that only the Chosen One could defeat. Despite this, he ends up taking the first hit against Kotal, is unable to land a single blow with his most proficient weapon, and every hit seems to hurt him about as much as it would anyone else. And it shouldn't. Just look at Shaolin monks or literally the original games. Or even MK9. Can you honestly imagine that guy fighting Kotal the way he did in MK11? Taking lightning blasts from Raiden, bicycle kicks from Liu Kang, or getting defeated by fucking Kitana? In a perfect world, none of those things would have happened, and it just goes to show how little the writers cared to preserve any of his integrity. Now he's just the lapdog of a woman who isn't even supposed to be from Outworld in the first place. I struggle to imagine what the hell Liu Kang was thinking with that one. He apparently has innumerable military accomplishments, but gets beat by a guy who had just gotten done fighting one of Outworld's best fighters, supposedly. Then he goes to lose to Reptile, and no, I will never get over this. So don't tell me what I can or can't talk about, or when it's okay to give my thoughts on a piece of media. To be honest, I probably should have just done like Angry Video Game Nerd and refused to buy or play the game outright. It barely functions on my PC anyway because the optimization is dog wash, and I know PC elitists will just harp on me for having low specs even though I'm broke and can't afford to upgrade, which is what optimization should be compensating for. Thanks for watching the video, hope you enjoyed it. My motivation comes and goes and I'm struggling to think of what I want to make next, but hopefully something should come sooner rather than later for a change. See you all next time.
Onaga. Emperor Onaga. Not anymore. Outstanding.